Okay everybody, this is mooneydashcam. Today we are talking about the Pierre Hotel robbery that happened January 2nd, 1972. So, the 50-year anniversary of this crime just came by. It was by the Lucchese crime family, backed it and set it all up. And yeah, they stole $28 million worth of cash and jewels out of the Pierre Hotel, which is a super upscale hotel, especially back then. It still is now, but very wealthy people live there and have apartments there. So let's flip this around and get into it. Okay, you guys get a rare sight of snow coming down Manhattan right now. I didn't mention where we were. We're in Manhattan. We're going to 5th Avenue and East 61st Street, which is the corner that the Pierre Hotel was on. It still is on. It's still there, of course. Still a very exclusive and famous hotel. And there's like crazy places to eat in there and everything. But let's get into how this went down. Just to name some of the famous people that have stayed there: Aristotle Onassis, Elizabeth Taylor, and Saint Laurent stayed there. This is how serious they were about getting this done. They were planning on shooting it out with the police. If the police were to show up, they were planning on shooting it out. They were serious about getting this done. The Lucchese family backed the whole operation. They supplied 3 cars, 8 guns, and 3 dozen handcuffs. Snow was fun. You don't normally get to see snow while you're in Manhattan, unless you live here, of course. Alright, so they realized that they couldn't get in there at night. The night staff was a lot smaller than the day staff, so they wanted to go in at night. They realized that they keep the doors locked at night, so they had to book a room. So they book a room under Dr. Foster, right? Now, the day that this is supposed to happen, they have one of the robbers. There's a bunch of robbers. I don't think it detailed how many robbers there actually were. But one of them pulls up in a limo, pretending to be a chauffeur, calls the front desk and says, "I'm here, I have Dr. Foster for his room." Security guard comes and opens up the front door. They put a gun to the security guard's head and they make their way in. That's their first hostage. Then they round up all the staff at gunpoint and start taking them as hostages. Handcuffs on all of them. They end up running out of handcuffs and they start using tape. They were like short a few handcuffs, not too many, but they were short a few. They actually ended up manning the phone just in case anybody like called and wanted pillows or whatever. They would be the ones to run up pillows because they only wanted to involve the staff in this. You know, it was late enough at night to where they think maybe no guests would be around, but of course things never go as planned. Someone calls the front desk. It was a Brazilian man that was waiting for the elevator. He was annoyed because he was waiting for the elevator for 15 minutes. So they go up and meet him, take him hostage, bring him down. They say, "Who's in your room?" He said, "I'm here with my wife and my mother-in-law and maybe someone else." And they took them as hostage also. Then also, they took his mistress as a hostage because he had his mistress there along with everyone else, and that's why he was waiting for the elevator to go meet her. This story gets very crazy. They tied them all up. The wife of the Brazilian man, these are very rich people, has a giant stone on her hand, a giant ring, and one of the robbers goes to grab it, and one of the higher up guys says, "Hey, we're not gonna mess with any of the hostages. We have bigger fish to fry here," so to speak, you know. So, oh wow, we're almost here. We're actually here. You see that? You see that hotel right there? The big building to the left? That's it. We'll pull up right in front like it's meant to be. You're not supposed to park here, but who's gonna tell me? Who's gonna tell me I can't park? Okay, say hi to the truck, snowy truck. Let's cross the street here because this is a big hotel. This is the famous Pierre Hotel. Look at that. So, as they have the hostages, one of them starts having chest pains, one of the employees. So they find out that a doctor is one of the guests there. They call the doctor down to deal with the chest pains, and they take him hostage also. Of course, why wouldn't you? So then they compile a list of all the wealthiest people that they think live there. They go through like the index at the front desk, and they start busting into all the safety deposit boxes. One of them has $500,000 in cash in it, all in bundles that are labeled $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. One of the other ones they bust into has $3 million in cash, all in $500 bills. Another one they go into has a $750,000 Harry Winston necklace from a baroness. I mean, look at this place. So they fill up 4 suitcases full of cash and jewelry. Someone said that it was $28 million worth. Eventually it gets reported that it was only $3 million worth that was taken. Probably because the ringleaders of the operation didn't want to let the other people know how much money they really stole, so they didn't have to share it all. And they probably also didn't want the people that owned the safety deposit boxes probably didn't report fully what they had in those boxes, because how do you explain to the IRS that you had $3 million cash in a safety deposit box? You get what I'm saying? What have I seen here with the snow? So yeah, they get 4 suitcases full. One of the guys wanted to bust open another box because there were like 75 to 100 boxes that they didn't bust into. He was looking for a box of a princess. One of them cracked a joke that to have so much cash and jewels, they could go buy himself a princess. Everyone laughed. Then they walk up to all the employees that they had hostage. I mean, look at that. What a grand entrance. They walk up to all the employees that they had hostage, and they gave them $20 each as hush money and told them not to call the police until they were far away. So I guess the hush money worked because they all gave incorrect statements of the identity of the robbers, and they didn't call. Police weren't called until they were like 20 minutes away, which is pretty wild. It actually worked. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is alone. You know, there's money here. All right, let's head back to the truck, and we'll get into the aftermath of what happened after all this. Look at me, I'm covered in snow. Alright, so most of this information, pretty much all this information, comes from a guy named Nick Sacco, S-A-C-C-O. I might be pronouncing that wrong. His nickname was the Cat. He's the only surviving person that... this article's from 2016. It was a New York Post article, I believe. But he was the only surviving person from that time. And he was in witness protection for 40 years because he ratted on a person in jail when he overheard of a triple mob murder. So, he was the one giving most of this information. I guess he decided at this point, what's the harm? Everyone else is dead. People should know about what happened there. Which I respect because, I don't know. Are you ever supposed to talk about the crime? Not really. But, so that was that. The Lucchese family disposed of every single thing involved in the case, like no evidence. They took all the jewels and they had a hookup on 47th Street, which is the diamond district in Manhattan, if you guys don't know about that. Biggest diamond trade in the world and jewelry trade in the world. They had a hookup over there, so they would take all the gems and they would grind them down so any markings of the initial any identifying markings would be ground off, and they would lose like a carat from each gem. But they didn't care because they stole it all. So what's the difference anyway? The gems were all reset into other jewelry and sold all over the world to all different jewelers, as if it was legit. Which this kind of stuff still does go on today. Don't think that doesn't happen today. The two ringleaders, Bobby Comfort and Sam Mallow, were the only ones to serve time directly for the burglary. Other people did end up getting pinched for this, but it was because they possessed the stolen property. But they were the ones who actually did time for the burglary. They only did like 19 months. Apparently they paid a person off like 500 grand at the time. Now, some of the numbers of what they stole: $3 million back then is $18.5 billion today. The 500,000 back then was 3.3 million today. So this is a serious heist that went on. The $20 they gave everybody was $133 today. They left at 6:45 a.m. before the 7 a.m. day shift showed up. Nick Sacco, the guy telling the story, personally walked away with $2 million. So the reports that it was only $3 million made is ridiculous, because he wasn't even the highest up guy that would have gotten the majority of the money. All right. Moral of the story is, if you get away with a major robbery like that, go do it. You make a lot of money, you know. Obviously, this stuff was easier to get done in the 1970s. There weren't cameras or anything. They spent over 2 hours inside the building, which is something you can't even conceive of now. Cops never even showed up. Today, you know, everyone has a cell phone. They just call. Back then, you couldn't really do that. Couldn't do that. Not couldn't really. So yeah, they made off with a lot of money. Most of the stuff was never recovered. I don't even think the Harry Winston necklace was ever recovered. I have some pictures of some stuff that was recovered. I'll put those in there. I have some pictures of like safety deposit boxes being busted open and stuff. But yeah, crime pays if it's the right crime.